What's going on, fragrance family? It's your man Gator, better known as the novice nose out here in these fragrance streets. You know, guys, since I've started my channel, I gotta tell you that I have been overwhelmed, guys, by the support that you have given me. Everybody that's out there in YouTube land that's watching this video right now or have watched any of my videos, have liked the video, have commented on a video, have shared a video. Guys, it means everything to me that you guys have given the support and taken the time out of your schedule to sit there and listen to me rant and rave about something I love, which is this fragrance journey, man. I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you for coming along with the journey, and I pray that you continue to come along. We got a long way to go. I call you guys my novice nation, man, and I think that's what I'm gonna start calling you from now on. You guys are part of the novice nation. You have officially been sworn in as part of that novice nation, man. So I appreciate each and every one of you. I love interacting with you, and I love answering questions that you guys might have about specific fragrances. One of the questions that I get a lot, though, and more than others, is a question kind of regarding one of my favorite DNAs out there, and that is from the house that shall not be named, their DNA Imagination. So, as you know, I'm a big Imagination fan of the DNA, smelled all of them. And I've got a couple of them here side by side that I get asked the most questions about. Is this one better than this? Is this one better than this? How is this one compared to this one? I've smelled all of the DNAs, and I can honestly say these are probably the two best that are out there. I mean, with the exception of Visionary, and I actually have Visionary right here as well. So Visionary, I feel, is very comparative as far as like the closest to the OG, but we'll get into that. I still think this comes in third place, but I'll explain why in a little bit. That being said, I'm not going to make up your mind for you, because you may prefer one of these over the others, over the other, just based on how they perform, because there are differences in them, and I'm going to kind of try my best to break down the differences so you can have the most educated viewpoint before you decide to go and invest your hard-earned bucks into one of these fragrances. So the first one up on this side of the ring is Game of Spades Full House, one of my favorite interpretations of the DNA. The other side is this one. This is, move the mic. This is alharamain's Aqua Dubai, one of my other favorite interpretations of that DNA. And I've smelled a lot of them, smelled all of them actually. I think I've smelled Sahib Intense, I've smelled Visionary, have Visionary still sitting here. I've got the Art of Arabia. I've got the decant still a Visionary, but Art of Arabia one, I've got that one. Hell, I've got the North Stag Trois, which was one of the first ones that got put out there. So I've got all of them. I've smelled all of them, man. And to me, these two are the best of the bunch when it comes to interpretations of that DNA. So without further ado, let me get into a little bit of the battle here, the verses on these particular fragrances here. And to be completely honest, they do differ. So presentation wise, I like both. Presentation wise, box, nice for the Aqua Dubai. Definitely something that, you know, that's a standard HARAMAIN presentation there. Game Spades, love their little coffin style, man, sitting on the velvet in here. Beautiful bottle, man. I love the tops on those little Spades. Beautiful, 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 beautiful presentations. So let's get down to the fragrances themselves. Now, to be completely honest, when you first spray these fragrances on, and I guess I shall go ahead and give the obligatory spray of each one here, just to kind of show you the atomizer and to kind of get the fragrance in the air so I can comment on it. But let's do that right now. While I'm getting these together here, I will say that the sprayers are awesome on both of these. Actually, you see that HARAMAIN spray. I don't know if you were able to see it actually now that I look at the video here, and you see the Milano spray is amazing on that one too. So right off the bat, there are differences. So the Milano, the one that I feel is closest to the actual OG, It comes in a little bit more smooth than the Aqua Dubai. It doesn't attack quite like the Aqua Dubai does. I get a little bit, just the ever so slightest little bit of a little bit of an alcohol feel to it initially, but that's gone within like the first second or two, and then it goes into the rest of the fragrance here. The Aqua Dubai attacks. When you spray this on, you are immediately hit with the ginger, you're hit with the neroli soapiness, and it doesn't have neroli in the note breakdown on here. It actually has, and let me go into the note breakdown here for it on Fragrantica here. So the note breakdown on the Aqua Dubai is bergamot. The top notes are bergamot, mandarin orange, and green notes, and I believe that the neroli is included in those green notes. The middle notes are amber, melon, black currant, and pineapple, and then the base notes are musk, petitgrain, galbanum, and vanilla. So here's the thing. I instantly pick up a little bit of the neroli, but one of the things that is so prevalent in this particular fragrance is the petitgrain. I pick up a lot of that petitgrain nuance from the rip. I do get a little bit of what I think might be ginger in those green notes as well, but I can't be completely certain. But I do get a lot of the petitgrain. It is a powerful fragrance from the get-go, from the rip. And again, the imagination, I mean the look at me, imagination. Again, the full house is very much a subdued type of entry. Now, the full house is closer to the actual OG, the way that when you spray it on, it comes across. Now, the full house, I feel, is a little bit sweeter than the OG, but it has all of the notes from the original. I mean, you've got the neroli in the note breakdown, you got the black tea, you've got the ginger, and all those things are blended very, very well, and you get an even blend when you smell it. It doesn't come across as too heavy on one thing or too heavy on another thing. Now, the Aqua Dubai does, like I said, come across really petitgrain heavy. When you get it, you're getting but it's very soapy. That's what makes me think that there is some neroli. When they mention green notes on this one, is what makes me think that there is a good dose of neroli in the Aqua Dubai. I don't really pick up as much of the neroli. Like I said, this one in the full house is a lot better blended. I don't pick it up as much. There is some in there though. As this begins to dry down though, they get a little bit closer to each other, and henceforth, pretty close to the OG. I think that the full house kind of stays the lane. It's well blended from the top. It doesn't necessarily have a lot of variation. It's fairly linear when it comes into his entry point into that dry down, and I'm talking into like the 20 to 30 minute mark as far as the closeness to the OG fragrance. This one, it gets closer. Some of that petitgrain tends to dial back a little bit. This was the most blended. This one actually kind of has all of the facets of the OG in it throughout the life of the fragrance here. This one, as it goes into the 2-hour mark, you start to really pick up what this fragrance, and actually I wouldn't even say as far as 2 hours, I would say maybe into the hour to hour and a half mark, this fragrance becomes what it was supposed to be, and that is a heavily woodsy and citric type of fragrance here. It does, like I said, have a good dose of petitgrain in here, and you do feel it throughout the life of the fragrance, but you do start picking up a little bit more of the melon, and a little bit of the vanilla start peeking in around that 45 to an hour mark. And I think what that does is it tries to serve as kind of a substitute for the black tea that would be in imagination. So it helps to kind of smooth out that petitgrain note. Now, don't get me wrong, that petitgrain is still strong in there and it's still woodsy, but that vanilla and melon kind of help to lighten it up a little bit, smooth it out, and really start to kind of enrich the depth of the fragrance here in question. It doesn't get the brutal petitgrain and ginger-like presence that it has in the get-go. That being said, This comes across as a lot more masculine fragrance than this one does. This one doesn't come across quite as masculine, and it comes across just like the OG. The OG Imagination's very unisex, has a little bit of a masculine lean. This one is very unisex, just a little bit of a masculine lean. This is manly. Right here, this is something that, you know, it presents itself as a very masculine type of fragrance. Compliment factor. Now I'll go into performance first. So performance wise, both of these do well. They are stellar as far as performance goes. The Full House DNA actually sits on my skin for about 8 to 9 hours. This one actually sits on my skin for about 6 to 7 and maybe 8, depending on what type of environment that I'm in. So both of them have their merit and do very well as far as the longevity of them. Now, Aqua Dubai blasts you out of the water as far as projection goes. Initially, it gives you a 6-foot projection, the arm's length, that should say, at least projection on this one, and that lasts probably within to the first hour. It kind of dials itself back fairly quickly. After that, though, it gives you into like the 2 to 3 foot projection. Sillage is crazy though for the first 4, 5, 6 hours on this one. The projection on this one, same thing, it's arm's length, but it comes into you closer a lot faster than the than this one does. This one comes into you close probably within the first hour to 2 hours. It actually does still project about 2 to 3 feet, but it is a softer projector. It is not as hard on the nose, or, you know, doesn't float in the air quite like Aqua Dubai does. Now, compliment factor, that's an interesting thing, because I've gotten more compliments on Aqua Dubai, even though it's not as close to the OG Imagination DNA at all, because once it gets into that 3rd, 4th hour, it becomes its own fragrance. It's doing something completely different. I've gotten more compliments on this fragrance than I've gotten on this one. I mean, now I have gotten quite a few compliments on the Full House as well, but by far, I had a lady the other day when I was wearing this follow me through the store. And she was like, "Hey, excuse me, sir. My daughter and I were just wondering what it was that you were wearing, because, you know, she smelled you. We just kind of looked at each other, and I said, I gotta find that man." So she literally followed me like 4 aisles down to figure out what it was that I was wearing. It does have that type of compliment factor, and I think it's because this one actually does have a lot of power. And even though it's not as close to the OG, as a matter of fact, once it gets into the 2nd to 3rd hour, it starts to kind of, like I said, go its own path. But it gets more compliments, I believe, than the OG Imagination does, and the Full House DNA does. And I think it's just because it is a very masculine type of wear. It is very soapy. It does have a very woody essence to it as well, so it just kind of has its own swagger to it. So in closeness, this one wins by a landslide, especially in the 2 to 3 hour. But this one, as far as compliment factor, probably wins in a landslide. So comparatively, which one would I pick? I don't know if I would pick one. I think both of them have their own utility. Both of them come in handy for, you know, different situations. I think this is a better office scent. I think this is a better out and about scent here. I think that this one, again, is closer to the original DNA. This one kind of veers way off of that original DNA, but both of them are really clean, really soapy type of scents that would be, you know, a great addition to your collection. So that's what it is. If you want something that's going to be a little bit more masculine, well, if you want something that's going to be closer to the OG Imagination, and I love that DNA, I prefer wearing this one because it gives that full experience of what Imagination is. The oils are, you know, pretty high quality as well. It's not Imagination, but it comes damn close to the way that one rocks. This one doesn't come that close to it. I mean, well, it comes close in the beginning, and then it just kind of, like I said, veers off. But compliment wise, this is the way to go. So Depends on what you want. You want closest to the OG for your own enjoyment? Go with this one. If you're all about getting out and about in the streets and you just want compliments galore, get this one. Neither one of them is gonna be a bad buy. So that's all I got on these two fragrances, man. Let me know if you have any other questions about them, man. What did you think of these particular fragrances when you wore them? How was your wearing experience? Did you experience some of the same things that I did? Make sure that you leave it in the comments. And as always, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, share the video with somebody you love fragrance, that loves fragrances, guys. I mean, hey, we got to grow this novice nation, man. Until next time, guys, peace out.